Welcome, welcome, welcome. You're listening to the Ask Brien radio show on KHTS 1220, 98.1 FM. All right. You're listening to the Ask Brien show, and every week we're here on every Thursday. We're interviewing either a startup or CEO of a company to learn business. And every week people ask us why is Ask Brien spelled with an E? Because when they went to school, they spelled Brien IAN or YAN, and they don't understand why it's with an E. They're not Irish, and they're not at a pub, and they don't know why O'Brien has anything to do with this show. So we always ask our engineer: is the engineer around, or is he just sitting around playing with his phone or something else, or making pretend he's not here? Is Patrick here? Hello,
Why, yes, I am.
Mr. Patrick.
Was that Mr. Bill reference right
Yes.
there? I know Saturday Night Live. Come on. I was just waiting for you to make an entrance for me.
You know Saturday Night Live with Alec Baldwin is playing Donald Trump. That's about as your age group.
No, mine was Jimmy Fallon, Will Ferrell.
Okay, so Mr. Engineer that begins with an E, who sometimes gets excited that begins with an E, who can be excellent at times, but very rarely with me. Why do you have an E in the Ask Brien?
Well, there's a number of ways that the E stands for. It's kind of like the themes of Ask Brien. One of them would be, well, let's see, it took engineer, so that wasn't very nice.
We don't have any engineers, but okay.
Well, technically we have two right here in the booth. Now,
Not
we
at
doubled.
Ask Brien. Do you work for Ask Brien? Is your paycheck from Ask Brien?
Nope.
Because if it is, I'd like to know too. I'd like to share those profits, pal.
Well, you took away engineer. You were not very empathetic, so empathy, hey-oh, there's one, which you showed lack thereof.
I was very empathetic. In fact, if you listen to the show, it says the views of are not our viewpoints, right? Because if I told them what your viewpoints were, forget it.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be a long hour.
It's going to be a long one, isn't it, Tracy?
60 minutes is 60 minutes. You can't make an hour longer. But maybe the engineer can figure that one out. He's the math whiz. Go ahead.
Boy, you are on fire today. With
Sassy. Well, he's definitely got the excitement going on, like he just said. Other ones we have are experts, because everybody is an expert on Ask Brien, everybody that they bring in. Outside of that, there's experience, because you need to have a lot of experience to be on Ask Brien. Another one we have, well, he took excitement. There's also enthusiasm as well. And am I forgetting anyone?
Well, hold on. What about the fact that
energetic?
Energetic's good too.
Energetic.
Well,
we have a new E for this week. It's actually our other engineer is named Emily, and she starts with an E.
And you have to be an extrovert to be on the show.
And that means there's more estrogen in the house.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Woo!
Those views are not the operation of KHTS or Ask Brien.
What?
Estrogen. What are we talking about here? All right. So,
I
and you have to have,
with that.
if you're going to be on the show, you have to have an energy drink. Another E.
Now that explains a lot.
Yes,
right
it does.
Did you mention experts?
I did. Tracy, you got my back on that one, right?
Yes, he absolutely did.
Oh
And
my
I'd
God.
lie even if you didn't.
Thank you, Tracy.
Another trait of our engineer, lying. Okay.
That doesn't start with an E.
Though that explains it, that does. E. Okay, without any further ado, how do you spell ado?
A-D-I-E-U.
This is the Sesame Street for business.
What? Are you Mr. Rogers? Oh, no, I'm sorry. That's a different show.
No, and utility company. That was on after. That was a part of not Ask Brien, Sesame Street. It was a. Okay, without any further ado, we do have a real show here. We do have a real person, and he's probably chomping at the bits. What did I get myself into today?
He probably exited with an E while we all this.
He's like, what am I doing?
happening.
I'm going to have a conversation with Brien. And by the way, expert dojo begins with an E. All right, so Adam, you still around?
I'm still here, guys. Yeah.
All right. So We always like to begin the show with that to explain things about what we're doing here. Now, the first question we have is, what is your background? I know you have a company. Before we get to that company, people want to know a little bit about your background, your history, how you got to where you were, and how you created the company. So, if you can give a little background on that, we'd like to start there.
Yeah, sure. So I grew up in a suburb of New York.
So
And I
did
went
I.
all the way across. Okay, cool. Where?
I grew up in Nassau County in Great Neck.
Okay, I grew up in that other suburb in Westchester.
My
So
condolences. Go ahead.
I knew that was coming.
So I flew across the country, went to school at UC Berkeley, majored in computer science, interned at Uber for a summer doing like machine learning stuff, then worked in consulting at Boston Consulting Group. And then kind of at the start of the pandemic, I just really moved to New York City and didn't really know a lot of people. So I was like, how do I meet people? And not just that, how do I meet other entrepreneurs or future roommates? Basically like really targeted connections. So if I was going to meet people, I wanted to meet them authentically, kind of like I do when I go to a bar. When I walk up to someone in a bar, I see them face to face. So if we were going to create a virtual kind of emulation of this sort of social dynamic, it had to be face to face. So Vardy is the virtual party, and we seek to become the first ever real social network where you can authentically make new connections. So the way it works is you enter virtual spaces where you have friends or some sort of common background trait, and then you move around using arrow keys, and you enter private video chats when you walk up to someone. So you can kind of imagine it like real life. You walk up to people to talk to them, as opposed to a Zoom call, which is like just breakouts if you want to get a little more intimate. And the superpower here, though, is entering virtual spaces that couldn't really exist in real life. And the big vision here comes from how ineffective social media, as it currently stands, is at bringing me real, authentic connections, like true friends or a future roommate or romantic partner. I found them all kind of inauthentic. There was no intimacy or serendipity. Yeah. Happy to elaborate further if that's helpful.
Well, absolutely. So when you're working at Uber, when you say machine learning, is that like AI or what specifically were you doing at Uber?
Yeah, so specifically, I was on like basically optimizing spend kind of team. So like how to leverage these mathematical models to figure out like what exactly should a driver be paid.
And then you left there at Boston Consulting. What were you doing there?
I was just working on a suite of different companies, like with specific like strategy problems. So, for instance, like a beauty company wanted to eliminate some of its product line. So, like on more of the quantitative side, figuring out like how that will, which products to cut and like good, models to ensure that like the company that most profitable decision.
Now you started with one other person?
So I started it actually, with like a few people. I mean, it was really me in the very beginning, for like about a month, just like doing design work, kind of like like conceptualizing everything, and creating product roadmaps, and then sort of brought in like other engineers, a lot of other Berkeley people, some MIT people at one point, and then people kind of filter in and out when it's a very early company. So the team as it is now is me, my good friend from high school, Wesley, and then this guy, Ivan. So Wesley was my good friend in high school. We both did debate in high school, and he basically was a Columbia CS major as well. He was a CS major as well, and then he worked in high frequency trading for a bit. And he kind of helps me on the growth side of things. But we really both do everything. And then Ivan is a really experienced engineer who was actually a user that was just so passionate. And he sort of like had all these cool ideas, and we're like, fine, like, all right, just join the team at this point. He has like 15 plus years of engineering experience.
How did you get the word out in the beginning?
We didn't do anything. We knew nothing about marketing or sales. We're a lot better now. But like at that time, this is November 2020. Like someone's LinkedIn, it said like, oh, they were like working at Vardy, and then that person's friend was like, hey, like I work for this company. We would love to host an event. And then they started hosting events, and then people attended those events. And then, one of those people was Ivan. Like another attendee hosted an event, and then Ivan attended the attendees' event. And then he was just like reaching out with all these ideas, and we're like, all right, who is this? Who is this crazy guy? And he ended up being like, a really good fit for us.
So
we really didn't do anything. Is the answer.
And you've been around what for about a year?
Yeah. I mean, like I first started like working on it in March of 2020, but we really launched in like late November. And then like we really started like a real like growth campaign, like actually like reaching out to people like you're supposed to, like first sales call, honestly like a couple months ago. So we're really focused on basically like, the big vision here is you hop on randomly and can meet random people that you'd really click with. Like, let's say you move to a new city. Like, how are you really going to meet people that you have a lot in common with? Whether it's like other podcasters for you maybe, or, for me, it's like entrepreneurs, or whatever it is, like Marvel movie fans. We didn't think there was a good solution, but for now, we think to get to that solution, we need a critical mass of users. So we're doing virtual events for communities that just really value authenticity and, being face-to-face. So we're focused on churches, and we kind of stumbled on that use case serendipitously. But we think that's a really good use case because for a lot of America, that is the core of all social life. And it blends into other communities like dating, parenting, etc. So we're focused on emulating the virtual church lobby, and we're working with a major online church to do that who's paying us monthly. But more than that, like there are like a bunch, like thousands of other users that use it for free, and we're also focused on university networking events. We're exploring dating events, but yeah, those are kind of the three main beachhead markets we're exploring.
So it is a free platform like a Facebook. Anybody can join and become part of it. Is that correct?
Certainly. Yep. You can just go on Varty, VARTY.io for free, and you can set up an event, and you just, for free, you can have 25 people in there. Now, if you want to host a really big event, maybe like you're a conference holder, or maybe you're an online church with a huge congregation, you're going to have to pay $99 a month for a subscription to have 100 people. And then if you want to host more, you should contact us.
It sounds a little almost like Zoom. For Zoom, you get the first 40 minutes free. You can do a certain amount of people, but once you get to a certain level, then you have to start paying a little bit more. Now, these virtual events, that includes video and so how do people go into this virtual meeting room?
Yeah, so you basically click a URL. You just click a link, and then you have to take a picture. And this picture that you take is just going to be a selfie of yourself, and it's going to be your little avatar. So as you're walking around this virtual, then you are dropped into a virtual space, which could be like a bar, it could be a church, it could be whatever the host has customized it to. And then you just walk around, kind of like a little video game. And then, using your arrow keys to move. And then when you're next to someone else's photo, you overlap with them, and you zoom into a video chat. So you could have like 100 or 1,000 people in a space, but you're really only talking to the people you're virtually near. Kind of like in real life, like when I go to a bar, I'm not talking to the entire bar. I'm talking to people I'm physically next to, whereas Zoom kind of treats it like you're talking to the entire bar. Or they do breakouts, in which case it's kind of hard to fluidly move in and out of them.
So when you're near somebody, you're allowed to talk to them. You can only talk to people within a certain distance of that person?
Pretty much, yes. Yep.
And what if that other person doesn't want to talk?
Oh, they can just walk away, just like in real life. Or there is a button to block call, and you can just prevent someone else from entering your conversation.
And are they speaking over the platform?
Yeah, they are talking via the platform.
So that's the Varty platform. It's not like they're calling into somewhere else, right?
Oh, correct. Yeah, the video chat, all that stuff was built in-house, and they use our video chat to speak.
And if the people meet each other that way and they're interested in getting further, how do they contact each other?
Yeah, that's what I think is so unique about our platform. Is we really do focus on like, hey, you've met online, but like the whole point of this is we want to make people have real offline connections from those online interactions. So you can friend people. And when you friend someone, you get access to, whatever information they want you to have, basically. So if I'm friends with you, I get two things. One, I get that information, which could be, it could be your email, your LinkedIn, etc. But secondly, when you're on the platform, I can basically like follow you into your space, or I can see when you're online and be like, hey, I kind of like you, and like I trust that you're normal and have normal friends, so I kind of want to meet your friends, and they can be interesting. And like these sort of concentric circles of communities are created that way. And we've already seen a portion of users actually doing this. They hop on randomly and they see what friends they have on the platform, and they go jump into their space, their virtual party.
So I know this. You may not want to give this information out, but I do have a question. How many members do you currently have?
So we have, like thousands of signups, daily actives and like monthly actives, stuff like that. They tend to spike. Not monthly actives, weekly actives. Like they tend to, some days it could be like hundreds, some days it could be like dozens. And it's really dependent on like which events are going on. So we want to get to a place, where kind of like on Clubhouse, there's just like all these rooms available to explore. But we think it makes more sense to start in this event-like structure because it's not very interesting unless there are a bunch of people on at once. So if you condense the time frame to which people can attend, i.e. like in an event-like structure, then it's more valuable of an experience because you can like meet various people. You're not just talking to a few. And that's the power of Vardy.
So if I met somebody there, right, a couple of things that I might want, right? One is obviously the contact information, business card, what business they're in, because I might want that for business purposes. I might want it for dating purposes as well, for not the business, but obviously the name, contact information. Potentially, I guess a picture, although not necessarily, just because I may not remember who that person is. So can I just? Is it like a way that I can just click on it and then they're added to my group?
So you send them a friend request.
Okay.
And then if they accept you, you get that information.
And
if they don't, then you don't.
And later on, what if I don't want to be friends with them? I realize, well, that was a really good person, but now they're stalking. So it's like, whoa.
Yeah, totally. You just unfriend them.
But they still would have my contact information if they wrote it down, right?
Yeah, they would.
Okay.
Sort of, the risk you run when you meet anyone in real life.
That's what happened when I met the engineer. He's looking dumbfounded right now. Did you swallow a fly? I think you swallowed a fly.
No, I'm here. I'm here.
And speechless.
Sure, let's call it that.
I thought he was telling me we got to take a break, but we do have to take a break. Okay, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back. KHTS 1220, 98.1 FM. Ask Brien Radio.
If you have a business problem, if someone doesn't honor their agreement and you need an aggressive attorney with over 27 years' experience, the Law Office of Peter Bronstein has helped partners resolve disputes, franchisees resolve disputes, and other business owners who have a challenge. Let the Law Office of Peter Bronstein take your stress away. Visit lacorporateattorney.com. Don't wait too long and lose your rights. Solve your business challenge problem today. Visit lacorporateattorney.com.
Your business sign is essential to getting customers to your location. Feathers can help you get your business noticed. Feathers, now in a new larger space with plenty of parking. They walk you through each phase of your project with special attention to detail and quality. Feathers will provide you a sign that you can be proud of. Your sign will draw customers in instead of having them drive by. Visit Feathers online at feathersigns.com or go to Feathers' brand new bigger location at 26017 Huntington Drive off Rye Canyon or call 298-9442.
Save water and save money. SCV Water wants to help you find your fit and take advantage of conservation rebate programs that will help you save. Water your landscape more efficiently. Replace your lawn with water-wise plants. Conduct free in-home water surveys. Cover your swimming pool and more. Find the programs that fit your needs and start saving today. Visit conserve.yourscvwater.com to learn more.
That's conserve.yourscvwater.com.
The anticipation of having a baby brings much excitement and hundreds of decisions. When choosing where to have your baby, choose the best. Providence St. Joseph Medical Center. The new Women's Pavilion combines expertly trained medical staff with luxurious labor and delivery suites and the area's most advanced neonatal intensive care unit. You and your new baby will get the best start possible. For more information and a tour, call 1-888-HEALING. The road to healing leads to Providence.
Hometown, your hometown station.
Welcome back, everyone. KHTS 1220 and 98.1 FM with my co-host Tracy and our very special guest today, Adam. Yo!
Enough.
Wow.
What was that? Have you ever heard of the Screamer from Saturday Night Live? He was also on Back to School, by the way. Sam Kinison. So, anyway, we're back. See, Patrick was supposed to be handling the volume, but he's teaching somebody, and he just, was laughing and having his own good time, I guess.
That was
Patrick is a big deal now because he has an assistant. He's a big deal. You can't disparage him anymore.
That
He's
was a
big
low
deal.
blow, Brien.
Yeah, low blow.
So now we have a very, very
Okay.
simple question to Adam. Okay, you have this business. How do you make money?
So you charge people that want to host large events. So, for instance, some of these big online churches or these university events, they don't want just 25 people in that space. That's not enough to do what they're trying to do. So, it kind of goes up based on the number of attendees you would like at the event. So to have 25 to 100 people, you pay $99 a month. To have like 100 to 1,000 people, you would pay more depending on how frequently the events would occur. But eventually, as this becomes more of a social network, less about like targeted, like random events, we will charge based on, we'll make money based on kind of product placement ads. So imagine like a virtual Coke bottle in a space.
Well, actually,
That's super cool.
That was what I was thinking. So for instance, if you are in that social setting, there are going to be products around, right? I mean, if you're at a bar, you're drinking a beer, right? So you could advertise for the beer, right? Every little thing.
Totally.
People are doing stuff. So I mean, that was my thought pattern.
And they could be interactive. They could be more engaging than the average ad. Like you mentioned a beer. What if it's like go play beer pong with, whatever brand of beer?
Not to
be virtual beer pong.
Obviously, and then you need the equipment. What if you're playing pool?
Brien.
What if you're playing pool?
Brian's like, I want to play beer pong.
I already am. This is O'Brien's pub, and Patrick's there pouring the beer.
I don't even know if I should feel offended or not. Because I'm Irish.
Top of the morning to you.
Always default to offended. I think that's your best bet.
I don't even know anymore.
He's trying to become a leprechaun.
Okay.
So,
but to get us back on track, I have a question. So, do you consider this to be, in your opinion, the next level social media marketing? I know you indicated earlier in the show that you're not a big fan of the traditional, what we're, I guess, now considered the traditional social media. So talk to us a little bit about how you see Vardy really fitting into changing the landscape of social media.
Yeah, I think that social networking has never really existed. Like it started with Facebook or there were things before Facebook, like Friendster, et cetera. But like the big one now, obviously, with text is Facebook. And then we got a little more intimate with Instagram, and that was focused on photos. Then TikTok was video. And then Clubhouse actually brought us real-time audio. And I do think the next step should be real-time video. But more than that, like the whole point of going on these social platforms is to, enhance your social life. You go on when you're feeling maybe a little lonely or you want to connect with people more. But there are all these trade-offs that exist. there's a mental health crisis with teenagers because they go on social media and they're basically comparing their lives to celebrity highlight reels. Then there's also political extremism that's developed because you're showcased echo chambers rather than being exposed to new ideas. So if we could just take all the bad out of it and just focus on the good part that social media did bring us, was connecting with people that aren't physically next to you, and really index more on, how do we connect with them? That's what I think social networking should be. There doesn't have to be these negatives with, internet technologies. The internet's actually a really powerful thing, and it just needs to be used for a force for good, pretty much.
Well, how can you regulate, political speech when people meeting? Doesn't matter if they're meeting virtually or online on a Facebook, whatever. I mean, if you meet somebody that's an extremist, either on the right side or the left side, how do you prevent that from a virtual meeting?
You just enter places where you wouldn't be able to, avoid someone that, has an extreme view, but you'd be exposed to many different kinds of views. Whereas, the Facebook or other algorithms, they iterate, your news feeds based on, what will, glue your eyes to the screen. And that'll be, the things you like. So if you're, on the left, it'll be leftist ideas. On the right, it'll be right-wing ideas. But, on Vardy, you're really just entering spaces where we're not, hyper-optimizing, the kinds of content that you're exposed to. We're just trying to showcase people that you would like to be exposed to. So focusing on which kinds of connections you'd like to make. That sort of just it allows the dialogue to be more nuanced.
How is this?
You can have.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, it's okay. Continue.
How is this different than Oculus or virtual reality?
Well, no one has. So two things. We do think that VR would be a cool thing to explore in 5 or so years. But the fact is, do you have an Oculus set? Do you have virtual reality technology at home?
I had a client that had virtual reality, which was a very interesting concept.
Right, but most people don't. But do you have a camera on your laptop computer?
Yes.
But everyone has that. So it's more accessible for one, and two, it's a little more authentic because when you're wearing these VR sets, you can't get a camera feed, at least with the technology that exists right now when you're wearing these goggles, of your face. So video chat is more authentic. But yeah, the big thing here is people just don't have VR yet. So this is the best way to get to a virtual world that feels authentic.
Is that a long-term project for you in 5 or 10 years then, as that becomes more popular?
Certainly. We'll definitely explore it. Can't predict the future, but yeah, I think that would be something definitely worth exploring. Whatever, is really as an output, making the world have better, more meaningful connections. There shouldn't, if someone's an entrepreneur and they live somewhere, they should know all the other entrepreneurs that they would like to know. There should be none of these weird networking games or whatever. It should be very, very organic and hyper connected in a meaningful way. Is our view.
Tracy?
Well, I was just curious about when we were talking earlier, you were about the political stances and eliminating being in groups that you're like-minded with. What is the situation like? Can someone hack into a party? Because I knew one time I was doing a coaching call on Zoom, and it got hacked, and it was literally one of the worst professional experiences I may have ever had.
Oh, I can imagine.
And so I was just curious if you have firewalls or protection for things like that,
right,
and how to navigate that.
Right. So we should talk about two different kinds of Vardys, two different kinds of virtual spaces. So you can make them public or private. So in your case, it was a professional setting. You're probably not going to post that to the Explore Vardy's page where it's publicly listed and you're come one, come all. We're all talking about some political topic. In your case, you would just make it private, and then you'd have to have a passcode to enter, or have to be a friend, or whatever basically you set up, and no one would hack in. No, and if they did, you could just remove them with the click of a button. It would be easy, but that has never happened with us.
And then I was, in celebration of International Podcast Day, which I've been trying to work into this conversation since the beginning, I could actually see this, and I was curious if this is part of your growth strategy, but I could really see this. I think when you mentioned Clubhouse, it triggered it for me, but there's so many challenges around one-directional conversations with podcast listeners, right? So you're hosting a podcast, you may or may not have a co-host, but you're interviewing a guest, but you really can't literally continue the conversation outside of the podcast with your listeners. So it seems like this could be a really interesting audience growth strategy so that you could host launch parties for your podcast. You could host book launches if you're releasing books as an author. It feels like it could be a really good place for a marketing opportunity for businesses that are grand openings. Like how would you monetize it in that way and work with different people in that type of promotional area?
Sorry, I'm just writing that down because that's such a brilliant idea, the book launch.
Brian, did you hear that?
Yes, she's going to get royalties. Yes, she's going to get royalties because I'm her attorney. But go ahead.
Sure. I mean, think about it. Like,
sure you heard that.
No. Write that one down. Sure. Like, imagine, like, in your guys' case, like meeting, your fans after. Imagine, like, this podcast is over. Someone wants to talk to me. They just walk up and talk to me. You know, like, what if the podcast is being hosted on Vardy and then like it's streamed to the radio station, right? Or it doesn't really matter how it's hosted, but it could be after the radio show too. But yeah, like how to monetize that. I think in that case, we would just kind of mimic other business models for how people like do meet and greets online. So which is charging the attendees to attend in that case. I don't know exactly the pricing. I think it'd be dependent on, the magnitude of the show, the podcast, whatever. But like, for influencer meet and greets, maybe it could be like $10 per attendee to talk to, a set of like 5 influencers, basically like a VIP kind of situation. It's the proxy in real life.
You could almost even think about creating a third-party relationship with like a Patreon or a Glow FM where podcasters have these communities that people pay for private access, and then part of that is that the podcaster pays you for the room, and then their community members can come into it, which is seriously something I'm thinking about launching with you. That's why I was asking.
Yeah, no, I'm like really liking these ideas, to be honest. I like that as well.
Well, that's what we're here for. Business development strategy is just part of our game.
Yeah.
And one other thing I wanted to touch on, as you mentioned that you're just now starting to venture into sales calls, and if an entrepreneur says that they don't have to do sales for their business, then they're either really out of touch or lying. So I'm glad, that you brought up that you are having to do outreach for sales. What is one of the challenges that you feel about that? And do you have a strategy in place where you're going to bring on a business development director, and how is that working out for you?
Certainly. So I think in the early days, it's got to be us. It's got to be the founders selling. But we definitely would love to outsource some of this work. But to be honest, like we're not experienced with this. We're product people. We're engineers. So like in the beginning, we like didn't do any sales, and we were still getting sales. But now we realize we have to. So you're right. To like actually get like real growth going. So the challenges here are just like I'm just speaking right off the cuff. It's just like kind of hard to get people to do something new. Like when you're talking to some institution, like like maybe like a church. Or even like dating, it's like they're always hesitant with new technology, and you can't really like describe Vardy well. You kind of have to go on to it to understand it. It sounds like you guys have a good grasp, but a lot of people, it's like kind of hard to visualize. So I think that's a really hard thing. And I think there's some distrust out there, with video technologies too. Like people hear about like data breaches. There's really no risk with us because we're leveraging basically like WebRTC, which is Google's like, open source video chat library. So we're about as secure as they are.
That's great.
I like it. You said secure, and I hear the sirens.
I know.
Oh, sorry.
He played that well.
Yeah.
How did you come up with the name Vardy, and where does that come from?
My best friend was like, this was his one contribution. We've been talking. It was like called Project like Virtual Nights for literally like 5 months, and we needed a name. And he was just sitting there one day. He's like, "Look, dude, I'm partying. Look, I'm virtually partying," like with a beer in front of his computer. I'm like, "Wait a minute, that actually works." It's like almost so laughable of a name that you won't forget it. And we could see it being like verbalized, like becoming a verb.
Like
like
Google?
in 5 years. Yeah, like I'll Google
Why
it.
did
Like
you-
I bought.
Why do I think there might have been some beer pong involved in that naming process?
Yeah, that was certainly like how we thought about it in those early days. It was really just built for us, but there were so many other people that found value in that kind of moving around and video chat dynamic.
I love the name. I think it's so brandable and really great. I mean, it's basically it's the combination of a virtual party, Vardy. I love it.
Thank you.
I'm sure it's tough to get the name too. I mean, I see it's under IO, but I mean, is there Vardy.com? Do you know?
Yeah, we were just like, when we had no money, we're Vardy.io, and we just sort of never made the switch. Maybe we should, now that we have a bit of money, tiny bit.
Enough,
see,
just enough to get in trouble.
Another tip we gave you. Well,
Yeah,
if you were to seek out that's a great segue to my next question. So I'm not saying that you are seeking out investors or that we are seeking investors for you, because that's not what we do. But I am curious, if you were to get investor funding, what would be the 3 top areas you would utilize your funds for?
So we definitely need a mobile product. So hiring, we think 2 iOS engineers. Look, we have the talent in-house to do it, but if we want to do it quickly, we need a bit more talent. So think about it. Like for any social platform, mobile is huge. You need no excuse for why someone can't get onto the platform. So we only have a website, a desktop version now. So that's the first thing. The second thing is hosting influencer events for meet and greets. So basically, like this can be kind of generalized to growth. And so this means like paying people to basically host events that like draw on a lot of other people, similar to the Clubhouse growth model. And third, there's a suite of room recommendation features we'd like to build. So this just requires like a bit more infrastructure engineering work. So room recommendation basically means like I hop on there, like how do I know where this person actually wants to hang out? So we ask them questions and we like kind of like curate the list of like people, and then we send them an email. This is how we're planning like a pipeline of how to set up these like really tailored events for your liking. Like maybe for you guys it's like, hey, like who's going to come on our radio show next? And then like you really get a curated list of like those people, and you blast an email to them, and then bam, people can join, or maybe they can pay to join, and then like there's a lot of opportunities.
I would think like sports and stuff like that, right? So you can have the Green Bay Packer group or whatever, or the New York Jet group, or the Dallas Cowboy group, and they can all go into that room and chat and talk about the team, right? So they've got that.
And more than that, they can watch the game together.
Well,
they can already do that kind of dynamic, yeah.
Virtual watch party, yeah.
And of course, with the virtual beer patch, you need to have the beer, but that's okay.
Of course, that's the one issue. Maybe we partner with like Postmates or something.
And the barbecue, because you got to have the outside grill.
Right.
And he has a little virtual grill in the room where it's like,
Well,
okay, so marketing. How
we
got to
take a break, so we'll be right back.
Hold
that
we'll
thought.
Back with that.
Hold that thought,
Hold
Tracy.
That thought.
KHTS 1220 and 98.1 FM. But don't hold it too long.
Life's real tests are never standardized. The curriculum at iLead Agua Dulce places self-discovery at the core of every experience, so your learner will be ready to lead in the real world. Our tuition-free charter school is currently enrolling grades TK through 9 and expanding to grades 10, 11, and 12 in the coming years, giving your child the perfect opportunity for continuous play-based social-emotional learning. Enroll now so you can enjoy iLead Agua Dulce's beautiful campus and outdoor classroom for hands-on learning. To learn more about iLead Agua Dulce and our unique approach to learning, visit iLeadAguadulce.org. iLead Schools, free to think, inspired to lead.
This is Jill from the Santa Clarita Grocery, the all-volunteer grocery program serving children, families, and individuals experiencing food insecurities. Since January 2020, Santa Clarita Grocery has distributed 83 tons of fresh groceries to our 4,655 families in the SCV community. Santa Clarita Grocery is a drive-up, drive-through service with physical distancing in place to continue serving our community. If you are in need or looking for a charity to do the most good for our community, please consider partnering with us by donating to Santa Clarita Grocery, one of the most efficient charities in the Santa Clarita Valley. A full 99 cents out of every dollar goes directly back to the community. Santa Clarita Grocery operates on a 1% overhead and is sustained through private donations. Santa Clarita Grocery is at 21176 Center Point Parkway in the Oasis Furniture parking lot. Please visit our website at santaclaritagrocery.org or our Facebook at Santa Clarita Grocery to make a difference in our awesome town community. 425-7575. Be our guest and experience the difference.
We bring on the fun at the Harvest Festival Original Art and Craft Show with a colossal collection of handmade art and crafts just for you. 3 days to shop over 24,000 original works. Enjoy live entertainment, specialty foods, prizes, and a kid zone. The biggest and the best for over 40 years, the Harvest Festival. This Friday through Sunday at the Ventura County Fairgrounds.
This year, the San Diego Zoo Wildlife Alliance is celebrating kids in a big way during October's Kids Free Month by offering amazingly fun activities and experiences for the whole family at the nonprofit Conservation's 2 wildlife parks. Throughout the month of October, kids ages 11 and younger will receive free admission to the San Diego Zoo and the San Diego Zoo Safari Park and can take part in special October weekend activities such as unique entertainment, culinary delights, and one-of-a-kind encounters with amazing wildlife. All children younger than 15 must be accompanied by a paid adult during their visits to the zoo and the safari park. The zoo is open from 9 to 6 p.m. every day except during Halloween, when the zoo will stay open until 9 p.m. The safari park is open from 9 to 5 weekdays and until 7 p.m. on weekends for Autumn Festival. For more information about Kids Free, Halloween, and Autumn Festival, and to check out the zoo's costume guidelines for kids 11 and younger, visit sdzwa.org.
This is Bradley from Santa Clarita Grocery, the all-volunteer grocery program serving children, families, and individuals experiencing food insecurities. Since January 2020, Santa Clarita Grocery has distributed 83 tons of fresh groceries to 4,465 families in the SCV. Santa Clarita Grocery is a drive-up, drive-through service with physical distancing in place to continue serving our community. If you are in need or looking for a charity to do the most good for our community, please consider partnering with us by donating to Santa Clarita Grocery, one of the most efficient charities in the Santa Clarita Valley. A full 99 cents out of every dollar goes directly back to the community. Santa Clarita Grocery operates on a 1% overhead and is sustained through private donations. Santa Clarita Grocery is at 21176 Center Point Parkway in the Oasis Furniture parking lot. Please visit our website, santaclaritagrocery.org, or our Facebook at Santa Clarita Grocery to make a difference in our awesome town community. 661-425-7575. Be our guest and experience the difference.
If you have a business problem, if someone doesn't honor their agreement and you need an aggressive attorney with over 27 years experience, the Law Office of Peter Bronstein has helped partners resolve disputes, franchisees resolve disputes, and other business owners who have a challenge. Let the Law Office of Peter Bronstein take your stress away. Visit lacorporateattorney.com. Don't wait too long and lose your rights. Solve your business challenge problem today. Visit lacorporateattorney.com.
Hometown.
Traffic report, simple news, weather, and lots of music. They pretty much play everything.
Your hometown station.
Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS 1220, 98.1 FM, the Ask Brien radio show. So we're here. We have our guest, Adam, and co-host, Tracy. And Tracy had some more questions, and I had to cut her off. I don't like to cut her off, believe it or not. So.
Oh, stop lying. You love it. So I just wanted to quickly ask you about where is your primary marketing outreach? What's your marketing strategy around getting your audience and your followers to grow?
Yeah, so we're quite frankly in the very early days of marketing. We're not experienced with this, which is why our accelerator has been super helpful. But we're really just kind of sending emails like, hey, we think this could be a really good fit for your community to host an event. So that's really where the bulk of our efforts lie. And we're like updating our social medias, et cetera. So early days on this.
No, that's great. I mean, you got to start somewhere. So you're mainly doing organic outreach right now, and then
Exactly.
I would assume,
Yeah.
right? And then we've given you some great marketing strategies here on this call.
Oh yeah, you guys deserve some. All right, I'll keep my mouth shut. Actually, yeah.
Especially as your lawyer, yes.
Well, so before we wrap up, what is one thing as an entrepreneur that you would say has been your biggest challenge and your biggest success?
Biggest challenge is, I mean, there's so many. Where to start? Maybe finding the right first market to go after. You know, like there are obviously a lot of use cases for something like this, so focusing is really important. That was really hard, just like saying no to certain opportunities. And the biggest success was, I think, just like, you know, creating a product that people like instantly started paying for and loved. That was, I think has to be the biggest success. But also getting a really talented team to follow my lead.
And your biggest success?
Oh no, that was the
so
biggest
far?
success. Getting a talented team to follow my lead, and also building a product.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. I didn't hear that.
No, it's fine. I didn't really like.
Challenge. I was like, man, that's a big challenge.
Yeah, no problem.
And how can people get in touch with you? And if they want to start their own Vardy, how can people start a Vardy?
So to get in touch with me, contact me on email via adam@vardy.io. So that's V as in Victor, ARTY.io. You can find me on LinkedIn, Adam Young, I guess, as well. And to start a Vardy, just go on vardy.io and then click Start a Vardy and then send that link to people. And if you want to host a bigger event, you'll have to upgrade to premium. Remember, bigger means over 25 people. But yeah, I encourage you to just check it out, try it out with like a smaller group, like 10 or 20 people. But yeah, that's how we get going.
And so everybody becomes a member. Is that how it works?
Yeah, when you sign up, you become a registered user.
So can I attend?
It's free to.
So can I attend a Vardy if I'm not a member?
You have to sign up like with Google or with your email to become a member, but it's free to sign up.
Okay.
And to enter any Vardy, you would need to become a registered user.
Okay. We're almost done, but what are the what's the main benefit for Vardy? Before we go to
enabling authentic relationships. You know, it's just really hard to get the same level of intimacy, serendipity that exists in real life online, and we think we are like actually the first real way to do that. So I think that's a very powerful benefit to Vardy. It's just like, how do I actually like develop a real friend, romantic connection, professional connection? You know, I send them texts and like maybe we schedule a Zoom call. It's like all these like weird steps that we don't think need to occur. You just walk up to someone like you do in real life and then face-to-face talk to them. So that authenticity to online.
All right. Well, thank you very much. You're listening to KHTS 1220 98.1 FM with our guest Adam Young of Vardy, VARTY.io, with my co-host Tracy. And it is International Podcast Day.